Jai Hind, dear students of class 10. I welcome you all in geography class. In my previous class, I have explained up to the causes or regions responsible for depletion of forests in India. Today, I am going to discuss the regions which are behind the declining wildlife in India. First region you can observe here habitat destruction. Habitat destruction means deforestation. Wild animals live in forests, and due to habitat destruction, they lost their home to survive. Second important cause behind declining wildlife is the hunting. Earlier hunting, shikar, it was allowed. It was fond for the royal families and the British officials. They have hunted lakhs of animals in past. Then hunting was banned, but illegal hunting come in existence, known as poaching. It is another reason for declining wildlife in India. We have overexploited the forest also. Side by side, environmental pollution and poisoning. Because of this, number of wildlife are declining in their numbers day by day. You can take example of peacocks. Our national bird, more peacocks. They are declining in their number. The reason behind that is the environmental pollution and poisoning. For the food they are using, they are mostly living in the areas where cropping is also going on. Use of pesticide. Pesticide is used to control pest problem in crops, but due to overutilization of it, if sometimes peacocks are using to eat it, what happens? They are dying. So forest environmental pollution and poisoning is another reason. And side by side, the last is the forest fires. Forest fire means jungle mein aag. Sometimes it happens because of mistakes of human beings. They are working in forest, and sometimes due to irresponsible behavior of the humans, fires occurs over these forest areas called forest fires, and in this there is destruction of habitat as well as direct killing of these wild animals. So these are the main reasons responsible for declining wildlife in India. I'm going to discuss one important thing. You must know that about one tree that is called as the Himalayan yew, Himalayan yew tree. The Himalayan yew called Taxus wallaceiana is a medicinal plant found in various parts of Himachal and Arunachal Pradesh. In two states only they are found. These two states, first state is the Himachal Pradesh, second is the Arunachal Pradesh. A chemical compound called Taxol is extracted from the bark, needles, twigs and roots of this tree. So the tree, especially the barks, are utilized for extracting a chemical compound called Taxol. And it has been successfully used, Taxol has been successfully used to treat some of the cancers, and the drug is now biggest selling anti-cancer drug in the world. So because to extract Taxol to treat some of the cancers, we have utilized lakhs of these Himalayan trees. On the other hand, we have not replanted them again. So what happens? You can see here given the species is under great threat due to over exploitation. Here we have did one thing. We have exploited them recklessly without thinking that what will be purpose in future, what will be the effect of it in future. So here given the species is under great threat due to over exploitation, and in the last one decade thousands of yew trees have dried up in various parts of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. As the trees have dried up, in future if we need Taxol, where from we get? So it is our moral duty to save them, to conserve them. We need to plant new saplings of yew trees. Next topic I am going to discuss is the environment. We should know that declining forest as well as declining number of wildlife is not good. Each and every species has a definite role to play in maintaining the balance of ecosystem. What is the balance of ecosystem or ecological balance? Sometimes it is asked, what is ecological balance? Simply the transfer of energy and matter in appropriate manner from one to another is known as ecological balance. There is all these species they are having a definite role to play to maintain this balance called ecological balance of ecosystem. But due to over exploitation of forest and declining wildlife, the ecosystem is not functioning properly. So due to this, there are numerous side effects. You can see that there are some negative impact of environmental degradation on human life. We know that many communities, especially the tribal communities, they are living inside the forest areas. Their livelihood is depending on the availability of trees and the wildlife. So a lot of losses are there. Here it is explained. You can go through this. I'm going to just give you the main points. The destruction of forest and wildlife is not just a biological issue. It doesn't mean that we are losing or the loss is there only for species of animals and plants. Not only a biological issue. A number of tribal community who are residing inside the forest, they are having a different culture. They are having different type of cultural habits. They have developed. They are having all such type of different things. What don't what they don't what they don't want to share with the other communities. So if the deforestation is going on, they are migrating from forest to new areas, and because of intermixing with the other people, their culture is also lost. So what are the negative impacts of environmental degradation? It is important. First is ecological imbalance. As I have said, each and every species has a definite role to play in maintaining the balance of ecosystem. Second is stagnancy in food chain. There is a food chain, and in more complex form, the food chains are called as food web. We know that from producers to consumers, each and every species are directly or indirectly linked to survive. So if any break in the chain is there, if any species is not present, suppose if plants are not available, how the herbivores will survive? If herbivores will not be there, how the carnivores? Nature has given a complete balance. If nature has provided the forest, nature has created the deers. Deers are grazing the forest. They are using the plants to survive. They are reproducing more. Their number is more. But to control over the population, the nature has gifted there the lions, tigers, other carnivores. They control over the population of these herbivores, like the deers. But if we are disturbing any one part of it, if we are killing more and more herbivores, then carnivores will die because of lack of animals of prey. Like in India, the cheetah, they have declared extinct because of lack of habitat as well as lack of animals of prey. So the natural balance is there. If any part we are disturbing the food chain also. So there may be stagnancy in food chain. Third, unemployment of tribal people. If deforestation will take place at large scale, it has resulted in what? Loss of livelihood. जीविका की कमी हो गई. To whom? The tribal community who are living inside the forest. Fourth is poverty is a direct outcome. You can see here it is given poverty about poverty. In this paragraph you will get poverty. Poverty here you can see in this case is a direct outcome of environmental destruction. If environment will not be maintained, what will happen? If the tribal community will jobless, they will lose their livelihood. What will happen? Poverty will come in existence. So poverty in this case is a direct outcome of environmental destruction. Another is drought. You can see drought and floods both become general because forests they attract rain as well as they control the flow of water. So they save us also from flood. They give us rain. So somewhere there is excessive rain, and because of deforestation, as their surface runoff is very fast, flood is common. If there is lack of rain, there is drought is common. कहीं सूखा पड़ता है, कहीं बाढ़ आती है. Then biological disturbances are also there. Number of researchers are working to know about the origin of life and other things on the earth surface. If they are not getting the species to study about, what will happen? Scientific study will also be disturbed. But there is a biological disturbance. Biological disturbance means loss of species. The last, cultural loss of the tribal people. So there are many loss of this. So it is important to conserve forest as well as the wildlife. All they are having a definite role in the maintenance of ecosystem or ecological balance. So what measures we can adopt to conserve forest and wildlife? What measures? As given to your book, I am just going to explain few part of it. You can see conservation in the background of rapid decline in wildlife population and forestry has become essential. So it is important to now adopt conservation strategies to conserve all these forests and wild species. But why do we need to conserve our forest and wildlife? Question is here asked. Why do we need to conserve our forest and wildlife? So here given, now you can see conservation preserves the ecological diversity. This is the answer. You must recall that time if the question is asked, why do we need to conserve our forest and wildlife? Simply, conservation preserves the ecological diversity and our life support system, that is the water, air and soil. It also preserves the genetic diversity of plants. Biodiversity are discussed at various levels. So, at the genetic level, the genetic diversity of plant, it means the species biodiversity is there, genetic biodiversity is there. So, genetic diversity of plants and animals for better growth of species and breeding. So, here given conservation preserves, why we need to conserve all these things? It is important to preserve the ecological diversity, to sustain life on earth because they help in to keep maintaining about the life support system like water, air and soil. For example, in agriculture, we are still dependent on traditional crop varieties. The seed we are having, no doubt, we have made the high yielding variety of seeds, but all they are made up of through genetic engineering from the original seeds. Fisheries too are heavily dependent on the maintenance of aquatic biodiversity. Fishes are food for many people, but we need to conserve all the species of fishes to maintain their population in future because they help in sustaining life of many people because fishing is occupation for many people. In 1960s and 70s, the conservation demanded a national wildlife protection program. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act, it is one mark question. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 with various provisions for protecting habitats. And All India list for protected species was published. The thrust of the program was towards protecting the remaining population of certain endangered species by banning hunting, giving legal protection to their habitats, and restricting trade in wildlife. So, what are the measures we can adopt to conserve forest and wildlife? First, we can do the step that is known as ban on cutting of trees. We need to stop deforestation. Second, afforestation. Which areas are deforested? We need to restore the forests of that region by replantation. Afforestation. In new areas, we need to do forestry. Third, by making and enforcing laws like the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. By making national parks, wildlife sanctuary and biosphere reserves. These are the another step. Government has declared many national parks, wildlife sanctuary, biosphere reserves to protect flora and fauna. Side by side, we can develop awareness among people regarding conservation of all these. And third, in the last step, we can discuss that is launching plans like Project Tiger, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Bustard, etc. So these are the steps you can take to check the loss of biodiversity. Now I am going to discuss about the Project Tiger. See, it is important part. Project Tiger. See here, Project Tiger. It is one of the project which is successfully implemented in India. Tiger is one of the key wild species in the funnel belt. In 1973, the authorities realized that the tiger population has dwindled. Dwindled means decreased to 1,827 from estimated 55,000 at the turn of the century. From 19th to 20th century, from 55,000 to only about 2,000. You can see how much they have declined in their number. The major threat to tiger population are numerous such as poaching for trade. Even today, tiger they are hunted illegally, known as poaching for trade. Shrinking habitat. Shrinking habitat means due to deforestation. Now there is lack of forest for survival of these species. Depletion of prey-based species. The other herbivores which are consumed by these tigers, they are decreasing in their numbers like deers. And growing human population. How human population? It means here we are deforesting the areas to clear the land for agriculture. We are, other hand, decreasing the habitat. And trade of tiger skin, the use of their bones in traditional medicines, especially in Asian countries, left the tiger population on the verge of extinction, and they have declared as endangered species. Since India and Nepal provide habitat to about two-thirds of surviving tiger population in the world, two-thirds, about 70% tiger population is there in India and Nepal. So Project Tiger, one of the well-publicized wildlife campaign in the world, was launched in 1973. Initially, it showed the success of tiger population went up to 4,002 in 1985 and 4,334 in 1989. But in 1993, the population of tiger had dropped to 3,600 only. But to protect them, government has declared many tiger reserves. You can see 39 tiger reserves in India, covering an area of 32,137.14 square kilometer area. Now the record has changed. As star is marked here, you can see at last given. Here given it is National Tiger Conservation Authority, Ministry of Environment, Forest, Government of India 2019. The data is based on the records of 2019. Tiger conservation has been viewed not only as an effort to save an endangered species, but with equal importance as means of preserving biotypes of feasible magnitude. In India, a number of tiger reserves are declared. Some of the important tiger reserves we are going to discuss. You can see they are the Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, Sundarban National Park in West Bengal. Sundarban is a tidal forest. Bandhavgarh National Park in Madhya Pradesh, Sariska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan, Manas Tiger Reserve in Assam, Periyar Tiger Reserve in Kerala. These are some of the important tiger reserves of India. Do you know? To conserve these forest and wild species, it is important to aware the communities. And community participation is important in any conservation strategy. In India, a number of movements related to conservation have taken place in past. As given, the conservation projects are now focusing on biodiversity rather than the few of its components. It is right. So in India, many programs like the CHIPCO movement, APICO movement, Joint Forest Management, Bishnoi movement have took place in past, and with these movements, a number of forests, a number of wildlife, and huge forest area have conserved by the community of that particular region. The first movement I am going to discuss only, for example, the CHIPCO movement. The CHIPCO movement was initiated by Chandi Prasad Bhatt and the Sundarlal Bahuguna in early 1970s. I hope you have heard the name of Sundarlal Bahuguna, the pioneer of CHIPCO movement. CHIPCO means to hug. CHIPCO माने किसी चीज को पकड़ना. CHIPCO means to hug. So in this movement, men, women and children, all they have embraced the trees and asked the axemen, लकड़हारों से कहा, first cut us, then cut the trees. So because of this movement, as this movement started in Uttarakhand under the headship of Sundarlal Bahuguna and Chandi Prasad Bhatt, as people become aware, they started to conserve their forest areas with the objective of conservation and protection of trees. The movement got success and gathered momentum all over the Himalayas and even spread the other states. And slowly, cutting trees which were allowed in past banned. Another movement I am going to discuss about conserving this forest and wildlife is the Bishnoi movement. Here you can see Bisnoi Ward village in Rajasthan. Here I am going to discuss about sacred groups and wealth, diverse and rare species. A number of movements have given. One movement I have discussed, the Chipko movement in Himalayas has not only successfully resisted deforestation in several areas, but has also shown the community afforestation with indigenous species can be enormous successfully. Side by side, the Beej Bachao Andolan in Tehri, the activists of Chipko movement, they have started a new movement called Beej Bachao Andolan. They started to conserve the original seed of crops because of hybridization or high yielding variety of seed development, genetic engineering. The original seeds, they are not conserved too much. They are not underused. So because of that, we are losing our original seeds. So they have started one movement called Beej Bachao Andolan. Then Naudanya have shown that adequate levels of diversified production of crop without the use of synthetic chemicals are possible and community viable. Do you know about the state of Sikkim? In Sikkim, there is 100% organic farming, and through organic farming, they are not producing less; they are producing too much. In India, Joint Forest Management Program furnishes a good example for involving local communities in the management and restoration of degraded forest, joint forest management. The program had been initiated in Odisha in 1988, and here the sapling of trees and land were given by the forest department to the villagers, and they have conserved the trees in hope that they will get some benefit after a successful harvest of these trees and other products from the forest. So in this way, joint forest management become very successful. Here, the local communities were involved by the forest department to conserve forest. So it is clear that communities are important in protection and conservation activities. Some of the examples, other examples are given here. You can see that sacred groups of wealth of diverse and rare species. I'm going to read it out. Listen it carefully. Nature worship is an age-old tribal belief based on premise that all creation of nature have to be protected. In India, number of tribal communities are there who are worshipping different type of trees as well as they are conserving wild animals also. They are not killing them too much. They are killing only that much to survival for their community, not too much. Such beliefs have preserved several virgin forests in pristine form. Virgin forest means even this time these forests are in their pure form. These patches of forest or parts of large forest have been left untouched by the local people, and any interference with them is banned. Certain societies have revere a particular tree which they have preserved from time immemorial. Here example you can see given. Examples are given. The Mundas and Santhals of Chota Nagpur Plateau region worship Mahua. Mahua is a common tree found in North India. Mahua and Kadamba tree. Kadamba means Kadamba ka ped. And in past, Lord Krishna is famous for playing flute on the tree of Kadamba. So these trees are worshipped by Mundas. This is a tribal community, especially in Chota Nagpur. Tribals of Odisha and Bihar worship the tamarind. Mango. You can see here in our region in Varanasi even some trees are worshipped like the people, burger. What are these? These are the practices for conservation of these species of plants. Indian society comprises several cultures, each with its own set of traditional method of conserving nature and its creations. Sacred qualities are often ascribed of springs, mountain peaks, plants. You can see there is worship of nature in especially in Hindu mythology. Lot of scope is there to conserve forest and wildlife. Sacred qualities are often ascribed as spring, mountain peaks, rivers are believed to be as holy rivers. Some of the mountain peaks we worship some plants, some animals you can see, they are believed to be as vehicles for lords. Like you can take one example, lion, that is believed to be the related with Durga ji, Lord Goddess Durga. You will find troops of macaques and langurs around many temples. It is very common. In Sankatamochan in Varanasi, you can see number of monkeys are there. They are living inside the temple. Their people are giving them food to eat and they are surviving. They are fed daily. They are fed daily and treated as part of temple devotees. As we believe that monkeys, they are the devotee for Hanumanji. In and around Bisnoi villages in Rajasthan, hordes of black buck, chinkara, nilgai, nilgai when found in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, they are very common. Peacocks can be seen as an integral part of the community and nobody harmed them. It is right. In Bisnoi villages, Bisnoi is a sect having principles of kindness towards all the animals and plants. Even they are not lopping trees. Even in desert, the Bisnoi villages are alive with black peacocks. You can see, and they have grown there in desert area a tree called khejuri trees. So they love nature. They want to regreen their area. So the Bisnoi village, Bisnoi people are mostly vegetarian people. They love nature. They protect plants and animals. Community and conservation. The last topic I am going to discuss related to this part. Conservation strategies are not new in our country. We often ignore that in India, it's are also home for traditional communities. As forests are really home for traditional communities. The traditional communities, these tribal communities, they are fighting against the outsider encroachers to save their forest area. Two examples are given here. You can see that. In Sariska Tiger Reserve, Rajasthan, villagers have fought against mining by citing the Wildlife Protection Act. Sariska Tiger Reserve is famous in Rajasthan. Here, mining of dolomite was going on. Villagers have asked the government if government has declared the Wildlife Protection Act, how you can destruct the reserve of tigers. So they have protected the habitat by rejecting government involvement. On the other hand, you can see that in Rajasthan, another example I am taking from Rajasthan, they have declared 1200 hectares of forest as Bhairavdev Dakau Sanctuary. Where? In Alwar district of Rajasthan. About 1200 hectares of forest they have declared as Bhairavdev Dakau Sanctuary. It means sacred groves, declaring their own set of rules and regulations which do not allow hunting and are protecting the wildlife against and any outside encroachment. So the people themselves are conserving the wildlife and forest. So it is important to know that there is no way to protect all these without the involvement of local community. The last topic we have to discuss the types and distribution of forest and wildlife resources. Even we want to conserve our vast forest and wildlife, it is rather difficult to manage, control and regulate them in India. As for on the basis of administration, you can see that earlier in class 9 you have discussed, you have studied, can recall now that there are various type of natural vegetation like rainforest, deciduous forest, thorn forest, tidal forest, etc. In class 10 we are discussing forest and wildlife as a resource. So here we are going to discuss the types and distribution of forest according to on the basis of administration. So the first type of forest is the reserved forest. Here you can see reserved forest. Reserved forest. More than half of the total forest land in India has declared as reserved forest. They are also known as permanent forest. They are most important and valuable as far as concerned in conservation of forest and wildlife resources. Second category is the protected forest. Almost 1/3 of total forest area is protected. These are also known as permanent forest. And third category is unclassed forest. These forests are other forests and wasteland belonging to both government and private individuals. Now, in which state these forests are mostly found? First, reserve and protected forest. You have to recall it again that they are also referred to as permanent forest. States maintain the purpose for producing timber and other forest produce. They are mostly found in Uttarakhand, Kerala, Jammu Kashmir, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Second type of forest, you can see protected forest. Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, Himachal, Odisha, Rajasthan have bulk of it forest under protected forest. And all the northeastern states, at last you can see all the northeastern states and parts of Gujarat have very high percentage of their forest as unclassed forest, especially northeast in Meghalaya state, the state of Meghalaya. Even forests are owned by the local community, local people individually, even in Gujarat also. So these forests are called as unclassed forests. So three types of forest on the basis of administration are reserved forest, second protected forest, and third is the unclassed forest. So this is all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. This lesson will not be evaluated in your board examination but will come in your periodic test assessment, PT examination. So I hope you will go through this lesson once again very carefully. Thank you. Have a nice day.